Hey everyone, we're back. Today we're going to be focusing on our enemy, making them a feature in our game. I'm going to start off from the patrolling movement and an alert state. So pretty much what we're going to do is we're just going to have our enemy move sideways on a platform, side to side, which is pretty simple in terms of movement. And we're also going to have our enemy, have an alert state, so that when our character gets a bit too close, they're alerted and they're ready to engage in sort of an attack mode. We're not going to focus on the attack mode today, but we're just going to focus on the alert state, and that's as far as we'll go. So the first thing we need to do is we need to create that animation, and as you can see, I already have my sprite sheets cut out here. So I'm going to go to enemy idle, which I've created, and that's just a sprite sheet for my patrol. And I'm just going to select that all, drag it into the hierarchy. I'm going to name it. So I've named it enemy patrol, and I'm just going to save it. And then here we have our enemy idle. We're going to add a couple of components. So we'll go to physics 2D, add a rigid body. It won't really do much except from freeze the rotation on the z-axis. Add another component, physics 2D, circle collider. I like how that looks already. That'll make a good hitbox for later, so we don't have to worry about that for now. Got those components on, we can focus on the animation. So I'm going to go sample size 24, of course, and I'm going to drag these nodes out as we usually do. Copy the last one. Actually, we won't need to copy the last one just because of something we're going to demonstrate in a second, but I'm just going to do it anyway. Okay, so we have all of our frames of animation. They look pretty alright. So our character's animating, and we're used to this. So what are we going to actually do that's a bit different today? I'm going to select this animation, and in the inspector I see that it has some transformation values. I'm going to select this first frame, make sure it's properly selected, and then I'm going to just move my character, and I can see there it's done something. So everything to do with position has been shaded red, which means that it's part of our animation now. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the position 0, just like it was before, but now it's shaded red, it's part of our animation. We have a little node to represent our position. So what are we going to do with the end of our animation? I want my animation, or my character, my enemy, to travel out by a position of 3. So, 3 units across on the x-axis. So we've done that. Going to take a look at how that goes. And as we can see, that's a bit fast. So what we can do is we can just play around with this a little bit and manipulate things, and pretty much essentially just copy and paste the first few sprites, not the position though, just the sprites, but it's going to take the position with it, which I can change in a second. So I'm going to copy that, paste it over here, select this single node right there, position. It will highlight the top, that's fine. And I'm going to get rid of this here, bring everything from here onwards back here, and then I'm going to make the position 3 over here on the x-axis. And so that should prolong the time it takes for our enemy to travel over to a unit of 3, and so it takes them just over a second to do that now. When our enemy meets that point, we don't want the animation to just loop like that. That just looks gross. So what we'll do is we'll have our enemy stop for maybe like a bit of a second, and turn around, and then come back to origin. So I'm gonna just take a look at what frames I'm working with here. Then I'm going to select my first 4 frames, Control C, Control V that. Don't want the position. Okay, so that's gonna hang out there for a little bit, and I want it to stay here, so I'm going to copy this into here. So it'll hang out for a second, and midway during that kind of hangout period, I'm going to flip the animation on the x-axis using this and the sprite renderer, flip, and then that should travel back once I add the position. I just need a few more frames. That looks about right. Okay, hangs out. Kind of hanging out for too long over here, just because we have that. But stops, hangs out, comes back. And then the animation should loop from there. So let's just take a look at how that goes. Still kind of fast, but for what we're trying to demonstrate, it's pretty good. So, you know, our characters moving side to side, or our enemies moving side to side, which is pretty good to see. In fact, because it is kind of bothering me, what I'm going to do is every position here, I'm going to... And sometimes Unity will take liberties with the values you've placed just to make the animation run a bit better. Oh, want that back at origin. Nope, not 50, not 50. Okay. Alright, that looks a bit better to me, just because we're traveling for a larger amount of time, so it's not as, you know, tat tat tat. Okay, so we've sorted that out, and what are we going to do next? We're going to make an alert state, and we're going to test out how this animation actually runs, running it in the game. So I'm going to start the game, and as you'll remember, we have a rigid body, we have a collider set on this, but for some reason gravity is not acting on this enemy character. And the reason is because this is animating from the points which we've dictated. So this enemy is doing exactly what we've told it. It's not doing what we want it to do. So we want our enemy to animate relative to its position. This way we can have multiple enemies, multiple different places in the game, and it doesn't look, you know, well, it's not US like this. We don't have to, for each individual animation, figure out where we want them, and then have to go to the inspector for them, make a ton of prefabs, and mess around like that. Also, we want gravity and physics and all these things to actually act on our enemy right here. So how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to go to the animator, and I'm just going to check apply root motion. And then I'm going to go to the animations folder, I'm going to go to that patrol animation, and then I'm going to go to generate root motion curves. And then we're going to play again and see what happens. Kind of pushing us aside, but that's alright. Okay, so now you can see our enemies moving side to side. There's no problem with that. And they're moving, you know, relative to their position. They dropped into the scene, and, you know, they're doing exactly everything that we want them to do. So that's really, really good. Now, how are we going to make it so that when Blue Bob over here comes anywhere close to our enemy, they actually react acting as some kind of object? Well, I'm going to come out of the play mode, and I'm going to go to our assets again, enemy alert, and I'm going to add another animation to this idle enemy. And so to do this, we know the proper way. We click on this where it says enemy patrol, create new clip, and name our new clip enemy alerted. Whoops, didn't save it in the right folder, but that's an easy fix. Just drag it over here. Okay, so we need some sprites for this animation. Sample size not going to be 60, sample size is going to be 24. Then we're going to go to this cut up sprite sheet over here, enemy alert, select everything and just drag it in there. Okay, and let's see. Well, it's the wrong way around, so that's a good start. So I'm going to take this is our last frame, so our second to last, and this is our first frame. To move that there, move that there. Control C, Control V, repetition, repetition. Gonna hit play, and that animation looks pretty good to me. We're not gonna mess around with this position or anything, and because it's a child, because it's part of this enemy idle, all of our root motion and everything is sorted. So we're not going to have any issues with our alert animation starting and then we TP over to somewhere random. Everything's just going to work. Okay, so how do we make this animation work? Well, we go over to the animator and we take a look. And it's pretty simple. We just need to make some transitions. And to make those transitions, we need a script. So let's go over to our scripts folder here, because you know I like to pre-make my scripts. And this script is something similar to what we've seen before in this project. It's pretty much like our player movement script in terms of the ball that we have, which is alert. But I'll just run you through here without having to take you into MonoDevelop. And so we start off, we reference the animator, we have a ball, and that is alert, and we just set it to false to begin with. A public transform is something called alert check, and so we have ground check, which is a child of our character over here, as well as shot spawn, but ground check's the one we're talking about. And we're gonna attach to our enemy character something similar, and we have a public float for radius, which is 3. And so this is going to be the radius at which our enemy character is going to be alerted. So the bigger the radius, the further the range of being alerted and things like that. So that would be good with different enemy types. Maybe you want a melee enemy type who gets alerted from kind of like maybe ages away, so they run over to you, or just close by, so then it's like, you know, you're like, oh, he's actually attacking me now. And then we have a public layer mask, and that's our identifier, and so we're going to set it so that anything that is player is going to put us into the state of being alerted. We got the good stuff over here, but I really want to talk about what's happening over here. So we have another physics 2D overlap circle, so our circle is going to be our alert check. So when anything on this character's layer comes into the range of this enemy, we're going to go into our alert, and it's going to say, okay, we're alerted. So we're going to reference that. So if we're in the state of being alerted, then our character is going to go into the alert state. They're going to go into the alert animation. There's no real simpler way of saying that, pretty much. Go into the range, get the enemy deranged. Woo. Alright, so let's apply the script and add our alert check. So we're going to go select our character here. Don't really want to move them around, even though that camera is just killing me. So I'm just going to uncheck that so I can actually look. When we start the game up again, I'm going to have to check that. Otherwise our camera's not going to be working. But I go to our game object here, go to add component, scripts, enemy behavior, and there you go. So radius is fine, identifier, player, alert check, we're going to say, we're going to create that right now. Right click, create empty game object, lifeless game object. Set it as a child of this, reset everything, and then there you have it. And then we can name it. I'm going to call it Earl, and then we'll just drag that over to there. Okay, So here we have it, and I'm just gonna go to this cube again so we can take a look at what we're actually meant to be looking at. Just make sure that it's actually there so we don't make a mistake, as a reminder. Now before we take a look, we've applied the script and everything, but we haven't messed around in the animator to make those nice transitions. So I'm gonna select enemy patrol in the animator, make transition over to enemy alerted, and then right click, left click, left click. Then on this transition, we're going to uncheck has exit time, because what that's going to do is it's going to loop our animation fully before it goes into the alert state. So it's only going to be alerted at 0 in term, like relative to its own origin for the animation, which is really goofy because it makes it so that we're kind of delayed. Like, it gives your actual player who's playing the game the opportunity to hustle the game by just like blasting through all the enemies, because they'll be like, oh, we need to hit our alert animation once I finish going through my 50 frames of animation. So that's not something that we want. So we'll have that unchecked. And before we go to the conditions over here, we need to create a bool. And our bool is going to be called alert. And then we go back to the transitions, set a condition, alert equals true, we go to this. If alert equals false, then we go back. I'm gonna leave that has exit time thing so that we don't have to loop through our animation again, just as I've explained. And then we'll test this out. Okay, so I've got the animator window open. If I take my character and go over here, oh, we alert. If I take my character and go over here, oh, we go into alert over there, over there. And so, yeah, it's working. We've got an alert state. So, you know, I jump over and it's like, vroom, you know, from Metal Gear and things like that. That's why I did the exclamation mark. Anyway, now that that's working, we'll close things up here. Thanks for watching and thanks for supporting. Have a brilliant time doing your own thing until the next part. Next part, we're just going to focus on our shots, really, destroying our enemy and things like that. I'm going to be opening up a project this week, so I hope you enjoy that. Either way, stay tuned. I'm going to be having some good things happening around here, and I will catch you next time.